The nation's first new nuclear power plant in a generation won approval Thursday as federal regulators voted to grant a license for 2 new reactors at a site in eastern Georgia. Atlanta-based Southern Company hopes to begin operating the $14 billion reactors at its Vogtle site south of Augusta as soon as 2016. The NRC approved the company's plans on a 4-to-1 vote. Planned reactors, along with 2 others in South Carolina expected to win approval in coming months, are the remnants of a once-anticipated building boom that the power industry dubbed the nuclear renaissance. Head of an industry lobbying group said that the Vogtle project could be the start of a smaller renaissance that expands nuclear power in the United States. President Barack Hussein Obama and other proponents say greater use of nuclear power could cut the nation's reliance on fossil fuels and create energy without producing emissions blamed for global warming. The Obama administration has offered the Vogtle project $8.3 billion in federal loan guarantees as part of its pledge to expand nuclear power. More than 24 nuclear reactors have been proposed in recent years, but experts now say it is likely that only 5 or 6 new reactors will be completed by the end of the decade. It's clear the nuclear renaissance has been significantly slowed. Lyman blamed what he called inappropriate optimism about nuclear power that ignores the huge startup costs and safety risks. NRC Chairman Gregory Jaczko voted against the Vogtle license, saying he wanted a binding commitment from the company that it would make safety changes prompted by the Japan disaster. We've given them a license. They have not given us any commitment they will make these changes in the future. Pretty amazing. It's inexplicable that we've chosen this moment in history to expand the use of a failed and dangerous technology. So, a little bit of history here in Wiki. The Atomic Energy Act of 1954 encouraged private corporations in the United States to build nuclear reactors, and a significant learning phase followed, with many early partial core meltdowns and accidents at experimental reactors and research facilities. This led to the introduction of the Price-Anderson Act in 1957, which was an implicit admission that nuclear power provided risks that producers were unwilling to assume without federal backing. Nuclear reactor accidents continued into the 1960s, with a small test reactor exploding at the stationary low-power reactor number 1 in Idaho Falls in 1961, resulting in 3 deaths, which were the first fatalities in the history of U.S. nuclear reactor operations. There was also a partial meltdown at the Enrico Fermi Nuclear Generating Station in Michigan in 1966. The large size of nuclear reactors ordered during the late 1960s raised new safety questions and created fears of a severe reactor accident that would send large quantities of radiation into the environment. In the early 1970s, a highly contentious debate over the performance of emergency core cooling systems in nuclear plants designed to prevent a core meltdown that could lead to the China syndrome received coverage in the popular media and technical journals. In 1976, 4 nuclear engineers, 3 from GE and 1 from the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, resigned, stating that nuclear power was not as safe as their superiors were claiming. These men were engineers who had spent most of their life working and building reactors, and they testified to the Joint Committee on Atomic Energy that the cumulative effect of all design defects and deficiencies in the design, construction, and operations of nuclear power plants makes a nuclear power plant accident, in our opinion, a certain event. The only question is when and where. So we've heard, we've lived through Three Mile Island. Here's a list you can take a look at. This is fatalities and the cost in the millions. $2,400 million to clean up 3 Mile Island. Then we've got 1980 San Clemente, 1982 San Clemente. And we've got issues going on there today with no end in sight. Doesn't matter how many experts have been brought in. It doesn't matter how much research. It doesn't matter the voice of the concerned citizens. Nothing matters except how much money is going to be made. We're nothing. Our lives don't matter. Let's take a look at some of the latest ones. 2005, Exelon's Braidwood Nuclear Station leaks tritium and contaminates local water supplies. 2005, Indian Point nuclear plant leaks tritium and strontium into underground lakes. But that actually happened from 1974 to 2005. Tennessee nuclear fuel service plant spills 35 liters of highly enriched uranium. 2010, deteriorating underground pipes from the Vermont Yankee nuclear power plant leak radioactive tritium into groundwater supplies. And then in Byron, Illinois, unusual incident reported. Loss of off-site power caused Unit 2 to run a shutdown cycle and release tritium steam into the atmosphere. Nobody cares. They don't care. Here's an event. Failure to include seismic input in reactor control blade. GE Hitachi Nuclear Energy has identified that engineering evaluations that support the guidance provided do not address the potential impact of a seismic event on the ability to scram as it relates to the channel control blade interference issue. So they issues the 60-day interim report in accordance with the requirements. This letter provides a revision to the information transmitted on September 2nd, 2010. So they're revising this from 2010. And this was now a new concern revisited to the following sites that are noted as having this problem, channel control blade concerns. At 9 Mile Point, Fitzpatrick, Pilgrim, Vermont Yankee, Oyster Creek, Limerick, Peach Bottom, Susquehanna, and Hope Creek, Browns Ferry, Brunswick, Hatch, Fermi, Clinton, Dresden, LaSalle, Quad Cities, Perry, Duane Arnold, Monticello, Columbia, Grand Gulf, River Bend, Cooper. Does this just not amazes me? After 2 years, we're still trying to do something about some of these issues. And I just don't understand how these people can live with themselves. I don't get it. I would love to line up Obama, the NRC. I would love to just line up all these people and put their children right nose to nose and make them look their children in the eye and say, I don't give a fuck about you. Money is more important. Money is more important than you. Because that's the truth. That's the truth right there. God help us.